Hey guys, welcome back to Dev Dive episode 11. This week on the show we have Riot Ranger, our first guest ever, making a excellent appearance once again back on the show. Almost 2 years later now. It's been quite a long time since we had on the show. Welcome back, Alex.
Well, thank you for having me. I did not know. Was I really in the first one? Now I
You
feel
were the
bad.
you were the first. You were
Oh
on
my
the. It
god.
was a very weird episode. For those of you who haven't seen or watched that episode, it was our first episode, so it really wasn't a podcast at that situation. It was basically just a 4-hour stream where we talked to Chad about just like anything Chad wanted to talk about. So we had questions about like why isn't Vigor nerfed or stuff like that, and I still
Oh, okay. I
have
do.
it. I have it on YouTube and on the podcast host, and I constantly am tempted to be like, "Oops, delete," because it just isn't a great show. Not because you weren't a good guest, but
I 100% get it.
it wasn't a good podcast just because
We're
of the
learning. We're
format.
growing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Show me what 10 learnings makes it.
10 episodes later, we have talking points now. So
Best document I've ever seen.
last time I think you were on the show, I think we talked about um was it the Cyan rework? It was either the Cyan rework or the Urgot rework. It was something like that. It was something that you were involved in some
It had to
respect,
be
I
Ergot.
believe. Yeah. So what have you been doing since then? Since 2 years ago now?
So after Ergot, crap. I really Akali, Ezreal, and then worked on Mordekaiser. And then during Mordekaiser, I left Champion Update to make TFT.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I've been
Wait. So
strictly TFT.
before we get into all of that, let's
Yeah.
just reiterate what your role at Riot was and is right now.
So I was the lead for quality for champion updates. So the ones I didn't do are Cyan and Poppy, and then everything else I've worked on, touched, looked at. Um, then I got more involved towards the end, and then I fell in love with Dota Auto Chess and wanted to make a good one. So,
We can talk about Dota
um,
Auto Chess in a little bit. I have a lot of things to say about that.
yeah, shoot, man, shoot. But like it became a problem. So like I was playing it so much, I was like, either I'm going to end up getting fired because of Dota Auto Chess, or I need to make a similar chess game. So Auto
So were
Bounder.
were you one of the driving forces that sort of like started Riot on the path to make TFT?
Yeah, it was certainly T and myself. We have a really good relationship. He's an abrasive person. I don't know if do you know certainly T's work?
Yes, I'm aware of the champion
Yeah, yeah.
designer.
So that's just him as a person. Like just take all of his champions and that's what he is, right? Um, so that's kind of what I went into. Um, yeah, no, it was great. It was fun.
That's awesome. And I think TFT has been such a massive success. I think, and it's great because you don't see a lot of the people who are like are hardcore League of Legends fans. They're not always like, oh man, I love League of Legends and I love TFT. But you see a lot more of people who weren't really into League of Legends getting into the TFT sphere. I have a lot of my friends who sort of dropped off of the league scene after season 8 or so. They just didn't keep up with it anymore. It's too much work, blah, 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 anything like that. But they come back for TFT because it's a more relaxing experience. It's something that you don't have to like spend 8 hours a day to be good at. And a lot of them are actually
Yeah.
really good at TFT. They're diamond or so, or even higher, which was super surprising to me because I'm garbage at the game.
Yeah, it's
um,
it's it's a completely different skill set, mindset. I'm not very good at TFT. So I get greedy. I want to reroll. I want to go for really crazy strategies. I'm just like I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and it's just like it's fine. It's fine.
yeah, I
It's
got
it's a
caught
lot of fun.
in the auto chess trap for a long time of greeting for 50 gold and just staying above 50 gold no matter what.
Yeah,
Um, and then there were certain metas for TFT where that just didn't work. And I think right now we're in sort of a meta where it's not great, but you can kind of pull it off depending on what you do. Like, and I say this completely not knowing anything about like high level
no,
TFT right now.
you're 100% right. There's those strategies where you try to get the 3-star poppy pretty early. You can go predator, not predators, protectors, and all that kind of stuff. Um, So yeah, and we wanted to make that opening because a lot of the other auto battlers, it's save up to 50 gold, get really expensive units. There you go.
Yeah, get
Um,
your gods combo, get your man. I
yeah,
have to
yeah,
admit, I don't think any of the auto battlers really took off. Like even the auto chess, like the one that Gerudo Studios made. I know that Underlords has like sort of a cult following right now.
yeah.
But I don't think they're really in a position like they used to be, which is surprising considering that they had like a head start on TFT and stuff.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that stick out to me. But it it comes down with ease of access and like clarity. Um, Dota auto chess with Underlords is to me overwhelming when I look into it, and it's just like fat, ugly, blah. And sorry, I don't mean ugly as in like not polished. It's Dota world, right? Like Dota always looks, I don't want to say dirty, but it's that like aesthetic where
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
not as openly accepting of everyone. Um,
They have an art
so
style for sure, and it
yeah,
definitely I'm on the same page as you. It definitely doesn't appeal to me as much as like the league does. But that's also like something to do with me just playing league for 10 years now or something. So it's a lot probably a lot easier for me to come in and look at league characters even if they're in different skins and be familiar with those than
yeah.
coming in and looking at Tidehunter or Kael'thas or whatever is
Well,
in
I played Dota
Dota.
for 11 years.
Oh
Dota
wow.
was the first online video game I played, and I played it religiously. Um, and even like when League first came out, I was like, Dota's so much better than League. Look at all these developers; they're working on, like skins. How would you work on your game not being shit, right?
Wow,
Um,
you sound like you sound like Reddit right now.
yeah, well, because that's what you think, right? And then like I think to myself, well, this design, like certainly T, man, he fucked up with this or with this or this. Can I use whatever language I want to use? Because I
Yeah,
am
go
not
ahead.
the most. All
It's
right,
this is
cool.
entirely on you. There's no ratings for this show. This is however bad you want to
Yeah,
get as
no,
bad
you're
as you
good.
can.
Um, I think I had a video because I used to make YouTube videos like that and stream. And there's one where I like literally dug into a designer on like how he would let this happen. And then if you watch like the Irelia video or whatever, it's a team of 20 people. Like a designer is just a corner piece to everything else. So it's a different perspective. But yeah, companies are the same way. There are teams that work on design, teams that work on balance, and teams that work on skins. Skins don't affect design. So just because they made a skin doesn't mean no one's working on balance.
Yeah, there was a
Uh,
great analogy for that Cactopus Ryan Wrigley put out on Twitter. Um, for those familiar with the Age of Empires series, he said people really think developers are like villagers, where the more you put on one project, they'll just build it faster. I can't take an artist and put them on game design and make them build the wonder faster. And I
yeah,
thought that was really funny because I'm a big Age of Empires dork. Um,
man, I
Age
played
of
that
Empires is
game a lot.
actually they released definitive edition this year, I think this year or end of last year, and it's fantastic. It's everything you want out of a remaster. So if you like Age of Empires 2, check out AOE 2 definitive edition. It's like $15, $20, super good fun, runs great,
Nice.
looks good.
That
Um,
was a great game. Remember the taunts?
yes,
Uh,
yes, I
what
know a
you
lot of
played
them.
2 hours to die like
You
this?
played 2 hours to die like this? Woolaloo.
Yeah, that was
Sure.
what 30. Was that 30?
Yeah.
Was Wooloo?
I think 30 was
Uh,
there's 11 is the one that everyone uses. 11 is like the really funny laugh. I'm not going to try to imitate it.
no,
It's
no,
like
by all means.
or something
Yeah,
like that.
the nice
Um
base, I'll take it.
nice
Yeah, those were
base.
those were
I'll take
great.
it. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
so that's it really goes to show like how iconic um a video game can be in like people's lives cuz for people who haven't played Age of Empires in 10, 20 years, they probably still remember some of those taunts just in their brain. And
Uh,
I have this with Hearthstone too. I don't play a ton of Hearthstone anymore, but I can still remember some of like the entrance quotes to cards from like 5, 6 years ago when they first came out. And
I think Overwatch is the best example of
oh
that,
yeah, yeah,
of these iconic, simple lines, and Riot took a lot from Overwatch in these. We thought we'd had to have 1,000 voice lines for you to feel like you're connected to a character, but I think what's his name? Who's the gun shooting person in Overwatch?
Well, I mean, a lot of them shoot guns. Reaper?
No,
He's
no,
the
I'm sorry,
guy.
I'm sorry. The cowboy.
Oh, oh, uh, uh, I know
I want to
exactly what
call
you're
him
talking about.
Graves. McCree?
No,
McCree.
McCree, yeah, six
Yeah,
shooter
okay.
guy.
Hey, McCree. It's high noon. That's his only line. I'm very certain that's the only thing he says. And then Hanzo says something I don't understand in English. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's like literally it. Um, but that like really tells you who like how people connect to it in those moments and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah.
yeah, he
It's sort of like how smells work and they trigger memories. Like there's a lot of scientific evidence out there, and this is a tangent, but
no, you're
um,
good.
to
We're going to
prove
smells
that
now.
to prove that smells have like such a direct link to memories that smelling a certain thing will trigger like memories from years ago that you may have forgotten about, and people can associate smells much more directly than visuals or auditory things. But
Yeah,
I think there's something to do with hearing and remembering that you can obviously tell, just because of how much we remember all these stupid quotes from games we haven't played for a long time.
great quotes. Did you ever see the smell card?
No, you'll have to
So,
explain.
okay, Need for Speed 2 comes out. Massive game. Super it's on PC, it's great. And the developers decided that they want to start working on a smell card that you would plug into your computer that you could smell burning rubber, you could smell like motor oil and all this stuff for cars. Um, really smart idea. I started talking about it at Riot, and one of the producers is like, "My dad worked on that." And I was like, "That's so cool." And he was like, "No, it never went anywhere."
How would that even work? Can you
Dude, okay,
produce? Can you produce like a smell
yeah,
reliably?
of course you could. There's like some you have a cartridge that would have like a certain amount that
Oh,
most smells are made out of,
it's like an
and then you
airwick?
just yeah, and it just poof.
That's awful. Who
Yeah,
would buy
yeah.
that?
I mean that's probably what they ran into,
That's
and then
amazing.
also
I love it.
if you only use the burn rubber, let's say it burns out, then you have this card that's going to produce another smell that's not the one you want, and you'd have to replace it, take it out, or just smell shit for a while.
Also,
So,
maybe it's not such a good idea to have something that smells like something burning inside your house while you're playing video games.
okay, so I think the worst mistake I made at Riot was when we reworked Corky. Um, so I was in the military, and I know an air siren sounds like an air raid siren.
Mhm.
And when we made Corky, when he picked up his package, the sound designer literally copies that sound and he plays it for me. And he's like, "Does this sound right?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds just like bombing attacks." And he's like, "Yeah," and he puts it in the game. And so Corky's out for like a week, and I read a post on Reddit, and this guy's from Israel. And he's
Oh
like, "I'm trying
no.
to play the game, but anytime someone's playing Corky and picks up a package, I don't know if I'm going to die
Oh,
and need to run downstairs into my bomb shelter or keep playing League of Legends." And I was like, "Oh, I fucked up so bad."
oh, that's
So we had
so
to change that.
scary. Did they
Yeah.
wait? Did they change it? It's does it sound different now? I know that
Yeah, I think
there's still
it's
like a
different.
horn.
Yeah, yeah, but it's not the same.
It's not the
Uh,
air raid horn. It's not the I'm gonna
yeah,
get bombed horn.
yes. And
Wow,
it's
that's
just one of those things
terrifying.
of just you gotta think, we're very lucky in America, we don't have bomb sirens because Canada and Mexico like us,
For now.
for enough to not
Enough.
bomb us.
Enough. Or they're
Uh,
scared of us.
yeah,
Um,
pick or choose.
doesn't matter. Um, so yeah, that's I didn't ever even thought about that. That's something that can't really like just sit down in a room and think of every scenario that could go wrong with something like that. But that's what is so useful about being able to have such large feedback groups. And there's so many downsides to having like a large feedback group yelling at you all the time. But there's also like that upside where you can make a change and reverse a mistake that you made relatively quickly, I imagine.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing about design is feedback, because if you listen to too much feedback, it waters it down, and you
Mhm.
just have this bleh. left over. And if you don't listen to enough feedback, you get these really sharp spikes that people connect to. Yeah, like I guess cult following is probably the best thing. It follows this only, and only this type of person likes that. And sometimes that's good.
Yeah.
Like Yorick, we don't expect him to be broadly loved. It wasn't meant to be. The people that we brought in were Yorick mains. We want Yorick players to like it. But a champion like who's a wide loved one, Ari, it's gonna have to be
Lux.
more Lux. No one has kind of a problem with it other than she has an annoying laugh, but okay, same.
So when they rework Lux, they're gonna keep the laugh and ditch everything else.
If we reworked Lux, that would be interesting. That would be interesting.
All of her spells would be laugh based. You'd have
That
a
would be cool.
instead of mana, you'd have a resource bar, and it's called laughing. And when you fill up your resource bar, you can ult, and it's just a giant sonic laugh that clears the entire summoner's rift.
As long as the whole game hears the laugh, I'm cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bought in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and actually, they'll have a feature where it echoes so loudly that it goes into other people's games, and no matter where you are in the world, you'll hear Lux's laugh every time she ults in any game, no matter where they are.
I don't see how this can like be a bad idea.
Yeah. So tomorrow I'll come into Riot and I'll start my job there as a game designer.
Tired.
Champion
Actually, you can't come
concept.
into the office because we're
Oh
closed.
yeah, shoot.
You
uh,
can stay right there.
I can stay right at my lovely computer station, my lovely
No,
home office. Man, that was a tangent. Um,
that was a long tangent.
I think we were talking about your role at Riot. So to quickly summarize, you worked a lot on QA for champion updates, and then you switched
Mhm.
over to working on TFT. And are you still working on TFT now?
Yeah, I am. I guess doing the same. We have new titles, man. I'm a quality engineer too. I think
Ooh.
is my job description title, but basically I am just lead of quality for all TFT related things,
So your day
and
to
that
day
includes
is you
mobile.
sit down and you look at a lot of like TFT bugs, and you're like, how do I fix this?
No, that's actually the shortest part of my job.
Mm.
I have a team that does that, that does all the bugs. I am more of like, how is this going to translate? How does this look? Does this hit quality bar? Is this how we move forward with this product? Is this how we transcend into the next great thing? Um, and keeping things running smoothly. I take away a lot of obstacles out of designers' ways, engineers, artists, producers. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Bugs are a very small job at Riot for QA.
That's awesome. I've never really been. I got offered a position, not offered. They asked at my job. They asked me if I wanted to help QA out while we're all like sort of down since my work schedule has been a little relaxed since quarantine, and I was just like, man, QA, that sounds hard. I'm not sure if I want to take that on my plate right now. But I
The
might get into it.
it is hard. It's attention to detail. You have to be annoyed. I think one of the biggest complaint I get from my QA that actually tests the game is when they find a bug they don't like and I say we're not going to fix it. That
Mm.
is like an instant fight because they have this attach of like that looks bad. I notice it. It feels bad, and you don't care.
The
And I like
decision to not fix it probably revolves around it would just take too many time and resources to for the return.
yeah, there can be a lot of reasons a bug doesn't get fixed. It can be that something's going to change in the next 3 months, so it's not worth fixing it now. In 3 months, it's going to be different. Um, it can be that players probably won't notice it. Clipping bugs. Clipping is like a big thing in video games. Like, oh, how dare like some I put this armor on now it clips. I doubt that's going to make you stop playing the game.
Yeah.
It sounds really crappy, and I wish no clipping existed.
I
But
think I
clipping
think
happens,
that you're correct in the fact that most people who are playing League and TFT probably don't care that much.
right? Um, but and also like, uh, it can draw back to like if a designer is working on making the next big thing, and you have them fixing bugs always, they won't make a next big thing.
Yeah, I can
So
see that.
that's also my job, like deciding where we put resources, and that can I get frustrated too. I've snapped it sometimes and be like, "Oh, we're just not fixing shit anymore, I guess." And then, producer has to be like, "Hey, we care. We just don't have time." And I'm like, "I hear you. I'm sulking and I'm mad." Um, so
Oof. Oh boy.
yeah,
Yeah. It sounds like it's in the perfect world you could just sit on a product for 10 years and polish it forever and be like Blizzard or Valve, but it's hard. It's
eventually
hard.
people got to see it.
Yeah.
And if you get to the point where it's polished before people see it, it's probably gonna be bad. You need constant feedback.
Hmm.
The
You have
first
to be
time someone looks at
polishing.
your game, yeah, the first time someone looks at your game, you should be embarrassed or looked at your design because it can't be that far along, or you could have gone down the wrong rabbit hole. Um,
That's really interesting. So, how early, if you can say, how early do you bring in people into projects like outsiders to look at stuff?
it's probably about halfway through.
Wow.
Um, and so if a champion takes 9 months, after 5 months, on the 6th month, you're probably bringing someone in that's a little bit further than half. Um, but that's already gone through. Like after 3 weeks of working on something, someone should be taking a look at it. Um, and then you bring in people that are in your company, in your circles, and you just keep going wider and wider and wider. Um, but things need to be somewhat polished for players to see.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that's something where the PBE gets a lot of negative feedback, where stuff goes to the PBE and people will be like, "Oh, we gave all this feedback, but they didn't make any changes." The PBE seems like it's like the very last line of defense for a project at Riot. Like unless it's going to be game breaking, like absolutely this is taking down this project. It doesn't seem like it can be. Um, it's like not the feedback form that people think it is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no, 100%. I don't know how skins work, so we're gonna take skins away from the PvE
Mm-hmm.
equation. I know how game design works. We want mass games played. The reason why during the another quirky bug or quirky thing is on PvE the first day there were 12 server crashes, which means the game crashes for everyone and the game just ends. And we had no idea why. And we found out that if Graves has a smoke screen down and Corky cues into the smoke screen, the game crashes. And we had never seen that in the 500 games we had played internally because it was so rare. Um, there was another server crash that lived um, on live for like 4 or 5 months, where it would happen 12 times a day. Which people this sounds like a lot, but it's so
Yeah,
small.
yeah.
Um, and we couldn't figure it out. But it was when you had a ZZ Rot portal down. Nocturne uses ultimate where you lost vision of ZZ Rot portal. It created a minion in that time. That minion last hit and killed a tower. If that happened, the game did not know how to give information to the Nocturne player once the ultimate ended and the game just crashed.
You're giving some poor QA engineer somewhere like horrible
Yeah.
PTSD. they're just they're just they're like, oh
Yeah.
god, not again. And that's why
Yeah.
ZZ Rat is not in the game anymore.
Oh, that thing caused so many problems.
Oh shoot, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something about, oh yeah, a long time ago, and I don't even, the recollection of my memories is like so terrible for this. This might have been 7 or 8 years ago now. There was this excellent bug with Tryndamere and Xerath, where if Xerath was queuing down the lane and Tryndamere was spinning up the Xerath queue, he would get like 20 CS because at this
Yeah.
time, Xerath queue, as I understand it, was coded as minions, as many things in the game back then were.
What
Um,
if I told you everything is a minion?
yeah, and I think, is that still the case? I know that back in the
Yeah, it
day that
has
was
to
true.
be. Everything has to be an object. And so the easiest object to make is just object zero, and you're supposed to click a bunch of boxes that say don't interact with spells, doesn't interact with collision, doesn't do all this stuff. That's a simple check that someone missed. Um, and it's easy to miss. But yeah, when people say like spaghetti code, it's wrong. Um, most of the time because like you understand how game design works. Things have to be something. You can't have like a VFX isn't just create a blue line that goes forward. How long does the line go? How many sections do you have of it? When you make a section, what dictates a section? And it's all these things that like they're actually objects. Everything is just coded in.
So
So
an
yeah,
ongoing, it could be a joke, but an ongoing reference that League makes when they're doing certain like measurements is they say like this is 10 TMOs long or like 10
yeah.
thing. Is that an actual unit of measurement that you use, or is that kind of just a joke within the dev team?
It it's how we translate to players, how it is. But we do have our own little like units of measurement. Um, that we'll use, but usually an auto attack range. So this is a melee auto attack range. This is a um, vein auto attack range, all that kind of stuff. Because we've been in the game long enough, we know the differences. TFT is nice. It's 1 hex, 2 hex, 3 hex. Um, but yeah, no, it's a thing. It's
It's a thing.
super confusing. Um, I think with working with Senna, when Senna was being developed, I was one of the people that was brought on to play her. She fits my play style in League of Legends, and it was, oh, don't pick Caitlyn in a game against Senna because it's unfair to Senna early game because she's supposed to be the most ranged champion, but she's not if Caitlyn's in the game. And you're like, that makes no sense. But when you're getting playtest and feedback, if someone just shuts down your unique thing,
Yeah.
it warps the playtest.
And
So
that can really spiral. Just getting into human psychology for a second, that can like spiral into consequences that you don't really understand. Because if you're playing against somebody and they're playing Caitlyn and they just absolutely destroy Senna in a playtest early, like 9 of the people in that game, or even the person playing Senna, like they're like, oh man, this champion's garbage. Why would anyone? They need to buff this. And then they go
yep,
into other games like that, other playtests where they're like, man, what should I do with Senna? Oh, pick Caitlyn. She's just gonna kill her every time. um,
yep, yep.
yeah, that's interesting.
I'm not giving any secrets, but I'm gonna pitch you an idea.
Okay.
You have to understand that there's bosses that sign off on things, right? And they're going to have to sign off on playing something and saying this is good for development. If I'm making a champion for you, Nighthawk, you're my boss,
Hmm.
and I'm making the best stealth assassin in mid lane, and you pick Talon every game to beat me, or my opponents do, Talon's gonna delete most people in mid lane. It just happens. They can't pick Talon if you're playing it, because I assume that you're not very good at the game because you don't play a lot, and so we have to like very carefully set up I guess you have to set up like a whole science experiment so that we cater to you without catering too much to you.
Hmm.
We don't want you just to blast people and be like, "Oh, it's so much fun because I killed everyone." At the same time, we don't want you to be like, "I had no fun because I just got blasted." And
Is
it's this
that
really
is that
it's hard.
the way you describe it? Is that like they know what's happening, but they don't really know that it's happening?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you ask them, they're like, "Oh, of course that happens." But if you like, how bad? They're like, "Oh, not a lot. It's like a 1%."
So you're sitting there with the other people, and you have like 8 people, and you're like, okay, how do we make this the best experience for Nighthawk coming in so he
Yeah.
doesn't just shut down the champion?
Yup.
So
Um.
y'all just pick supports and you int into them, and they get 30 kills.
Yeah. No, there's some things that have almost been shut down because someone had a very bad experience and it wasn't a true experience, right? If someone just played one game of League and they had to base their opinion off of League on that, you're gonna have those games where it was a 5 minute stomp, right? They invaded red, they killed
Yeah.
4 members of your team. It's a 4-0 fizz, and you just died every time. At 15 minutes, everyone's forfeited. You accidentally hit the yes button. The game's over. Why would you ever play League again? And so, yeah, it's very important to set up a very structured thing so someone gets a accurate representation of something.
And that's something that you probably only figure out after like running into that situation, running into that problem. You can't, and this is sort of going back to the air raid siren with Corky. You can't just sit down in a room and think of every single problem that's going to go wrong with developing this game. You have to
Yeah,
learn from your mistakes. Like you can sit there for 100 years with 1,000 people, and then you're not going to be able to think of every single extenuating circumstance. Um,
yeah,
and I like that. I like that it's still you're still able to learn from mistakes instead of trying not to make them in the first place. Instead of not making them in the first place. Obviously, you never want to make a mistake intentionally, but sometimes they happen.
Yeah, so I mean, so the game we have what 140 champions now in League of Legends. Um, okay, so if you give Twisted Fate 5 movement speed, it increases his win rate by 2%. You can't tell 5 movement speed. No, if any human tells me they can see 5 move speed plus or minus, they're a liar, and I don't want to have the conversation with them anymore. Um, that's a 2% win because you get that yellow card at that range that you weren't able to before. Okay, so now we buff Twisted Fate by 2%. What does 2% mean? He doesn't beat Fizz 2% more. No, he beats other champions more. So now Syndra's win rate goes down because of that yellow card hitting her earlier before she can do her combo and he can run away. And so Syndra's now picked less because Twisted Fate is picked more and is winning. And so the counters that like Syndra used to delete Zoe and Oriana, she's not getting picked as much. Oriana and Zoe's win rate go up. And it's this huge ass puzzle that's just when someone on Reddit is like, oh yeah, this is how you just easily nerf this one champion and everything's good in top lane. You're like, this I wish. I wish.
It's
It is
it's like the theory of branching universes. Every decision that gets made, like the butterfly, not the butterfly effect, but that situation where any decision that gets made will branch infinitely into infinite realities. And you can really see that in a game like League, like you said, where changing one little thing, like giving Twisted Fate 5 movement speed, can affect so many other things than just Twisted Fate. It can affect the win rates of Zoe, it can affect the win rates of Fizz, blah, 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 blah. And I had this argument with a friend, actually, ironically, on the road trip from North Carolina to California when I moved out here. We had a
wait,
lot of
you did
time to
that
talk.
I moved from Georgia to LA and had
Wasn't
to
it a fun
drive.
trip? Well, I drove through
Oh my god.
Atlanta when on
It's
my
the
way down.
worst.
It
It's
was
the
it was
worst ever,
great.
dude. You sit on the 10 for like 2 days?
I took yeah, we took the 10 down to Mississippi, and then we drove through Louisiana, San Antonio, Texas. Uh, we were gonna hit White Sands, but we didn't have time. And then no, we did go to White Sands. Never mind. We didn't have time for something else. Doesn't matter. Nevada, Arizona, California, New Mexico. Yeah, that's the line we went. We didn't go the perfect line because we wanted to visit the Petrite Forest, the meteor crater, all the stupid
Oh,
tourist
cool.
stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a lot of time to talk. And getting back to the talking point, we had this discussion whether or not it was harder for an AI like Google Alpha Brain to learn how to play a game like League of Legends or to learn how to play a game like StarCraft, like an RTS. And my argument was that a game like League is infinitely harder for an AI to learn than a game like StarCraft, because in StarCraft, APM is king. Controlling hundreds of different units around the map simultaneously will just overwhelmingly destroy an opponent in almost every situation, just because micro is so important. Where in a game like League, micro can get you really far, but game mechanics, macro, build paths, all sorts of stuff like that has a lot more effect on the game than I think just having perfect micro in every situation.
No, I 100% agree with you. I played StarCraft a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I hit Masters. I never teetered high enough because Terran was bullshit broken. Um,
Fuck Terran.
but yeah,
Protest for
right.
life.
Did you ever see the robots or the AI that would use stalkers and hit with perfect macro or
Yeah,
micro? Sorry,
yeah.
you just build stalkers. They have blink. You
Well,
can't
there
lose.
was there was a thing where they're still doing it where they have to limit the APM of the thing to make the matches like actually learning experiences for the AI. Because the AI was doing like 8,000 APM with stalkers and stuff, and they were just completely obliterating people with no chance for them to like even put up a fight. So they had to artificially limit it to like 500 APM or whatever, depending on what league it's in, because they have
Yeah,
hundreds of instances of this bot spinning up and playing different game. Um,
but
so
I
like,
would be interested. Are they playing it perfectly? The robots
well,
have to
that's
play perfect.
that's the question.
Yeah.
Um, so they actually have like bots playing at, you have to opt into the queue, like you're opting into a queue that you have a chance to play against Google Alpha Brain or whatever it's called.
Okay.
And they have different instances of this bot at different levels. So you could play against a gold alpha brain, you could play against a plat, a diamond, grandmaster, challenger, whatever their top tier is. Um, and I think the one of the main differences, and I'm sure there's more to it than this, but the main differences are just APM max caps, where the higher you go, the more APM that it's allowed to use. And they're
Interesting.
really interesting games to watch. I'm sure you can go on YouTube right now and search like StarCraft Alpha Brain games, and you'll find like 100 videos of different streamers who get into games against the bot, and you get to see how they play. And from the games I saw, there's a lot of like tear and drop play where they'll just micro with medevacs and use tanks and stuff and just obliterate people that way. And then of course there's a lot of stalker micro like that. If you don't play StarCraft, you probably have no idea what we're talking about right now.
Oh, I forgot
but
how far down that. Yeah,
but let's just we'll cap it at the AI can play an RTS very well because of how RTSs are fundamentally structured versus a game like League, where more being able to look at multiple points of the map and playing very fast and very well um, affects a game like StarCraft way more than it does League.
I get that. I feel like there's no also 100% this is the right call
Mm-hmm.
in League, and I think there's some of that in StarCraft. Um, there was a StarCraft player, Idra, famous for being a rager, and there was a Terran player. His name started with a J. He's from Europe. I can't remember what it was. Um, at a certain time, the first Marine popped out of the barracks, and he accidentally hit the wrong button and didn't build his Marine for 5 extra seconds on accident. So Idra does a rush, times it out perfectly. He sees the build and he waits for that Marine to pop out of the barracks. And because he waited, his Zergling died because his Zergling was supposed to kill that Marine at melee range, but the SUV was beaten on it. And after the game, Idra was like, "What the fuck happened? I was perfect." And he's like, "Oh, I messed up. I didn't build the Marine on time." And so
Yeah,
like that's why I asked like, does it have to play perfect? Because then you get these mind games of like, this is the perfect play with the information unless someone messed up.
yeah,
Uh,
and a lot of high level StarCraft has to do with eking out very, very, very incremental advantages against your opponent via harassing them with like Reapers. Like Reapers are a unit that can move over terrain very fast, very easily, so they can jump up and down cliffs. And a lot of StarCraft gameplay has to do with using terrain to your advantage, at least in the early game for units like the Reaper. So an AI or a very, very, very good StarCraft player can actually use one Reaper, which is a very cheap early game unit, and cause massive amounts of headaches for the enemy player just by having it going and attacking a worker for a little bit, running away, healing up, attacking a worker for a little bit, and not the damage that it doesn't cause the advantage necessarily. It's actually just the brain power of the opponent being taken away to deal with that unit because you'll have to either take your workers and run them away or try to surround them. Blah blah blah. There's so many different ways to deal with it, but at the end of the day, you're taking mining time, worker time, whatever time out of your opponent's hand just to deal with this. And that's why StarCraft is like so hyper focused on APM and um just very perfect, like you said, perfect execution of everything. Because one tiny little mistake, the earlier in the game that happens, can be the end of the game. Whereas in League, you can be making mistakes up until 40 minutes. If you just execute a perfect team fight,
yeah,
that's the game. The game can be over right there. You can
that
win.
sounds like Korea in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were behind for 30 minutes, but then we had the perfect team fight. You're like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, it's just such a and StarCraft is not known as a simple game. This is a very complicated game. But when you look at League, just the different combinations of things that can happen in any single game. I think a long time ago there was math put out when the game only had like 80 champions. There was math put out there. There's like 10 billion or 10 trillion different combinations of games just based on champion like interactions. Um, and now it's got to be exponentially higher. But that's like just the base level of what can be like how a game can be different. You can play a game with the same 10 champions 10 times, and the outcome of that game can be different 10 times. You can have a fed Rengar, you can have a fed Caitlyn, you can have a fed mid lane, your top lane could do well, but then lose a tower. Look, we can talk about this forever. But
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's it's
very,
it's crazy.
yeah, it's crazy, and that's why I think like maybe in the future a computer could play League perfectly, but right now, oof, I'd love to see it.
Uh, Side tangent real quick. Do you like watch Neil deGrasse Tyson? I can never say his name correctly. Physicist, right?
Yeah.
He was talking about are we in a simulation? Just thinking about that, I was just like, oh no. If we can make robots that can create simulations, then they can make a simulation of a robot that can make a simulation. Therefore, we're one in a trillion. And I was just like, oh, my life is a lie.
Well, yeah, the theory, I think we've actually talked about this before on this podcast. I'm not sure.
I had
The theory behind that is it's sort of like the Fermi paradox, where if alien life existed in the universe, um, it would have contacted like advanced enough alien intelligence. It would have like either contacted us right by now, or we would have been able to detect it, or some situation. And since it hasn't, it doesn't, or something like that. I'm sure
okay,
I'm horribly mangling that. Um, but it sort of goes over to the same thing for the simulation, where it's since the universe is infinite, there's a infinite likelihood that we're in a simulation, because at one point humanity or evolution will get to a point where technology is advanced enough to create a simulation of this magnitude, or of this perfectness. I think it's called something
yeah,
like that. Ugh.
yeah. It gets into some weird mind bending things. And infinite isn't. Yeah, once you add infinite and everything goes out the window.
Yeah, and that's I think that's the biggest struggle with modern philosophy, I guess it's called, just because it's just you can talk about it for hundreds of years and you'll just end up being at the same points as you've always been, where if the universe is infinite, then anything is possible, blah 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 blah
Right.
blah.
Yeah, got it. We're on
Transitioning back.
topic. Question two.
Transition, question. We actually kind of went over to
Oh,
question 2, so we'll skip on to question 4. Actually, how have
okay,
you
okay,
been
okay.
dealing with quarantine? How have you been dealing with not going to Riot office? Right, I've actually been to the Riot offices 2 times. They're beautiful, fantastic offices. Are you missing them majorly?
So I miss them just because they're beautiful places, right? It's like a park. Um, but I'm an introvert and I love being at home. And so I get my daily touch of personal interaction with meetings. I have a roommate, talk to her, done. I am set. My tank is full. I talk about some like philosophical debates with friends. Cool,
On
great.
podcasts? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I wasn't even talking about you, but you're also one of them. Uh, um, that's really all I need. And so I'm healthier, I'm happier working from home, doing what I'm doing. Um, my team is not the same. A lot of people I know are suffering. So if anyone ever wants to talk, I am open to talk. I got all the jack boxes. I've been playing Jackbox with my team, trying to like be a little happier. But yeah, no, I'm loving it. How about you? How are you doing on quarantine?
I think I'm in the same boat. I really like our offices. I work at a small ed tech company called, well, not too small, about 150 employees now, 200 ish. Ed tech company called Go Guardian, and fantastic offices, really beautiful. They've really um, doubled down on like the open office theme with beautiful plants and like just fun
Nice.
environments everywhere. It's a great office. The hours that I work, or at least the hours that I worked when I was at the office, it was pretty empty most of the time, because I was in the afternoon or the night shift most of the time. Um, so I didn't really get a ton of human interaction at the office. Um, so I basically was just in like a 20,000 square foot place with like 3 other people there, and I like that. I
Okay.
personally was like, this is
Yeah.
awesome. I get to come around the office. I get to sit in whatever chair I want, check out the kitchen, all the snacks, carte blanche, the coffee machine, blah blah blah. But yeah, the transition to working from home, the biggest difference in my life, and this is sad, is I miss the free food from the office. That's
Yep. That's
basically
the only thing.
it.
The free food is so nice.
Yeah, it
So
you
I used
never
to
really realize how expensive food is, especially eating out, until you have to like
yeah.
just sit at home for 4 months and make food every day.
At Riot, I'd walk in, I'd have my first meeting, and I go get a bowl of Frosted Flakes or Captain Crunch, and I'd have my bowl, and I'd eat it, and then I go to lunch and get like a salad, and then there's a snack in the middle of the day, and then just a fatty dinner. And now I'm eating twice a day because I'm too lazy to go buy cereal and milk and
Hmm.
then clean up all that crap. And
I'm in the same
it
boat.
took
I'm eating like one giant meal a day and then like a couple snacks throughout it, and that's just how my life is right now.
yeah, I got my snack right here. I have my strawberries.
Ooh, that's a healthy snack. I like strawberries. They're expensive though.
They
Like good
are. Why is
strawberries?
fruit so expensive?
Who knows? I mean, we live in a good environment for it. Isn't like California like perfect for growing stuff because it's nice temperatures all year long?
I'm just saying I
Who
could buy
knows?
100 strawberry Starbursts for the same price as like one small carton of strawberries. So like they're killing me here.
You know what you need to do? You need to get a window box and grow strawberries at home,
I
or
used to
or
have
go
a
all out and
garden.
do like hydroponics.
No, no, dude, I killed everything I tried to grow. The only thing I could grow was onions.
Onions. Why would you
I
even
mean,
want
you
to
just
grow onions?
onions are delicious. I'm
They're
sorry.
like
What's wrong with you?
25 cents.
It's not the point. The point is growing something and loving it and then eating it.
Loving the onion. All right, Shrek.
You care for it. You get the soil and you
When I
plant
was a
it.
kid, I tried to grow pumpkins for the longest freaking time, and I never
Why?
grew a pumpkin. They just,
Why? Pumpkins are gross. They don't
I know,
taste
I
good.
didn't even like pumpkins. I just wanted to grow something. Um, and it didn't happen because I don't think they were getting germinated. Like there was just no
Oh,
other pumpkins around, so they just
yeah,
weren't.
I don't know.
I don't know enough about biology to state that as a fact, but it just never happened.
It's like they weren't getting germinated, man.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, they just weren't no pumpkins around for them to exchange biological material with.
okay. Yeah, well, I killed everything I tried to grow. So,
It's hard. I don't like anything. I feel like I should have plants in my apartment just to like make it less depressing, but it's just I don't want to deal with it.
I hit my
I think
mic,
I
sorry.
could.
Nothing's alive in my house other than my cat.
I can't even get a cat. I want to get a cat. No cats in my place, unfortunately.
That's unfortunate.
That's the biggest struggle that I had moving to LA. Just trying to find some place that was affordable that you could have pets in, and I just couldn't. It was like, do you want to pay $800 a month more, or do you want to be
Right?
able to afford food?
Oh, they make you they put like a pet deposit. You have to pay extra per month, and it's just like,
Hmm.
why? Oh, I'm with you. Also, if you ever have to move, and you have a pet, it greatly narrows down where you can move to.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think if you wanted to move and you had a pet, you have to like find somebody who already has a pet and see if there's like a space in their building or like see if there's a space in their unit or whatever. It's just such a struggle. Hey, what other games are you playing these days other than League of Legends?
I play the crap out of Final Fantasy 14.
Oh
It
boy,
is by far the best MMO that's ever been made, and I've been like trying to convince everyone to play it. Um,
there are a
great
lot of my
storyline,
friends who are
great
really
classes.
into 40 Final Fantasy.
It's so I played WoW since beta of WoW, and I played Final Fantasy on and off for like a month here and there, like every couple years, like a month. And I finally really got into it this time. I really dove. I really focused on it. In WoW, it's hit max level, do end game raids, get loot. Final Fantasy just gives you loot. It starts off. It's like, oh, you hit 50. Congratulations. Here's the best set of gear you can get. And you're like, oh, and it's like, yeah, you can do raids and it'll get you the next, or you could just go do blacksmith for a couple days. I watched The Boys and Money Heist and cut down trees and mining for like 3 days straight in Final Fantasy. It was soothing. I had cool gear. I walked around and cut things. That I would never mine for more than an hour in World of Warcraft. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton of MMO experience. I think the longest I ever played an MMO was a terrible offshoot of, it's called Neverwinter, and it wasn't like the Neverwinter everyone knows. It's
Oh,
Neverwinter
okay.
by Perfect World, which was a, I think it runs on the same engine as the old Star Trek MMO or Star Trek MMO.
Oh, I forgot about that game.
Yeah, it's ugly. It didn't run particularly well. Um, it was massively pay to win, just ridiculously pay to win. Um,
Yeah.
and I played like 7,000 hours of it or something ridiculous.
Oh, you
Mm,
didn't just kind of play it. You played the crap out of it.
Every night after we'd get home from school, me and my friend would just sit on this game for till like 3 a.m. Or 4 a.m. It was that, Combat Arms, and
Okay.
Battlefield Play for free. That was like, and then Minecraft and all that sort of other crap. That was a different era. But that was a
No.
lot of
Yeah.
my younger gaming.
There was a game called Rakion. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, ever played it. It was a battle arena where you could pick a swordsman, a blacksmith, a mage, an assassin, or an archer, and you just battled it out. There was some like hold the point, kill the enemy golem, which is like capture the flag almost. Um, and it was beautiful. I played it for like a solid year, and I played like 6 hours a day. I was 19th on the server. I was like, this is the greatest game ever. And then they're like, oh, we're coming out of beta. We're gonna go into main, and now you can spend money on the game. And I was like, why would I do that? I'm everything's fine. Well, the best thing you could get for free was a Minotaur summon. After you did X amount of damage, you could summon a pet. And I was an archer, and I summoned a Minotaur. And it would sit in front of me and it would protect me. Awesome. The first bonus for paying for the game, like $5, was a dragon. Minotaurs can't fight dragons; they're in the fucking air.
That
And
just
it
reminds
was
me. Oh God, that's terrible. That's
yeah.
like,
So it crushed it. I will never play a game where you can pay for power.
yeah,
Just
and
bottom line.
it was a struggle. When you're younger, you like don't realize that how like dirty it is, like the pay to win tactics. But in Neverwinter, the game that I'd spent thousands of hours in, and unfortunately hundreds of dollars,
No.
it loots you in. There was so many levels of pay to win that it was ridiculous. There were companions, and the companions that you get were like, that's a big part of your power. So you wanted to get the best companion, and like some of the better ones can cost like $30 or something. And then there's like weapon and armor slots on the companions, and those were a big part of the companion's power. So you can either spend money on
Oh.
those or grind them out or whatever. And then the armor slots had enchantments in them, and they had like 3 enchantments apiece, and they went up to level 14 or whatever. Um, and like the grind past level 7 for those enchantments was ridiculous. So for one companion, if you had to like, if you were just starting from scratch and wanted to spend money, I think it would be like $1,000 or something ridiculous to get that
Oh,
companions, like like to be the best that it could be by not playing at all, just by like,
that's rent money.
yeah, that's like, and I don't know how
No.
big the whales are in that game, but like
Dude,
people were spending. You would see people
whales,
in
man.
like the terrible PvP or the terrible end raids, um, with like completely decked out everything. Um, yeah, it was, that was
I don't
a
I don't know if
struggle.
I can tell you this story. I'm trying to think about I probably shouldn't tell you the story, so I'll tell you, like, Chinese culture is very different about pay to play.
Hmm.
And there was a gentleman I was talking to that said that my game was flawed because it was free to play.
Hmm.
And I was like, "Cool, so you're a whale." And he's like, "I am not. I work a factory job for 60 hours a week. I don't have time to play as much as the other people that are playing at home with other jobs. So I need to be able to spend my resources that I earn to catch up to them." And I was just like mind explosion. Like it's not going to convince me to make a pay to play option, but I can understand why you're at a disadvantage. Not everyone is. My life, I wouldn't even say was like super luxurious. I was an orphan in East Atlanta. You know the South, not the greatest place to be. Um, Still, I was able to play video games. I know a lot of people that weren't able to. So even that is like an advantage. Like, oh no, you can't do pay to play. And I'm like, well, what about the new players that have never played League of Legends before? I can see why someone would be like, why can't I pay for 10% power to catch up? So I am more empathetic towards it. I would never put it into a game I worked on,
Yeah.
but I can understand it 100%. Not the $1,000 for companions, but I can understand a little bit.
I think that these games, those types of games, fall into a vicious cycle where they allow pay to win materials for whatever reason, whether it's to
Mhm.
balance the game for people who don't have as much time or just because they want more money. Who's to say? They put in pay to win tactics, and that encourages people to pay to win. And in that situation, it drives out people who may not be able to pay, or maybe people pay as much because they feel like they're being excluded because they don't have money to spend on the game. Where then to be better at the game, you have to spend more money now because the only people who are left are people who are spending money, and the cycle
Right.
it gets put into this vicious cycle because the developers are seeing the player base shrink, but the profits like stay either consistent, and they say we have to put in more tactics just to keep our company alive because our player base is so small now, but they're still paying money. So the
Yeah.
more that you can milk those very very small percentage of people for whatever amount of money they're willing to spend, like the smaller the player base can get. And I think I've seen that a lot with games like there's a mech warrior game right now that's very very niche, and
Okay.
it's got people who have been playing this game for
Right.
like
Is it
for an
is it
iteration of this
Titanfall?
game. No, it's literally mech warrior, like mech, the
Oh,
brand
okay.
mech warrior. um
Okay, okay.
and I watched a video about it. It was like a 50-minute video about this guy who's been playing for hundreds of hours or whatever, and he was just really distraught because the game had implemented some sort of pay to win um, thing in the game, and he was like, all my friends who have been playing this game for so long, now all their progress has been invalidated because of this whatever
Mm,
aspect. Um, and the developers like came out and said like, hey, we can't keep this game alive with this small of a player base without this. And that's just like do you want your
yeah.
game to be alive, or do you want it to be like how you like it? Because there's only 1,000 people playing this game at max, something has to be done to keep the servers,
I
like,
got
just to keep servers alive.
I got mad respect for the developer to come out and say that,
Yeah.
because that is not gonna make you friends, but it is the honest truth of, like, why things why does Riot have to ship a Lux skin every year? And Riot's not in trouble of we're not in money problems. Our game's not shrinking. It's not that, but it's like, hey, we are cognizant that we have to make money. Like that is how the game gets made. It's a free to play game. So if people want to buy Lux skins, we will continue to give them Lux skins.
Yeah.
Um, and it gets really hard telling a player. Like I have friends that main champions that aren't as popular, and it sucks. Be like, hey, I know you haven't had a skin for a while. So like,
I,
sorry. Like,
I think Larry said something about he didn't mention specifically what the champion was, but he said something like this champion hadn't had a skin for however many years, and he's like,
yeah,
it's just because nobody plays them. Like they have like 3,000 mains or something like that.
right.
Um,
It's just so hard, and it
yeah,
feels bad because I want everyone to have Christmas every day. I want your champion to be 55% win rate. Like I get that. Like I want you to feel supported, loved on every character, but there are some characters that can't. Um, my favorite character is Shyvana. I love playing
really.
Shyvana. Yeah. Do you know what a 55% win rate Shyvana looks like?
Is it Spellbinder, Deathcap, Void
Oh no,
Staff,
sorry.
Wounds
I think I
Echo?
worded that incorrectly. If Shyvana is 55% win rate, there is a
Oh,
problem in the game.
yeah.
Uh, but a Mumu can be 55% win rate because it's not as shocking. It's not this. But yeah, if Shyvana's that strong, she will just destroy you.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the
Oh,
problem that you see a lot in League, where if you see like these, not to say like these lower skill cap champions, like the champions that aren't 10,000 dashes and pure true damage and whatever. Um, if you see them at a super high win rate and a super high play rate, there's something wrong with the balance. Like if everyone's playing the champion and they're all doing above average, then maybe the champion's too strong.
yeah, it gets in a hard situation. So kudos to that developer. Way to go. I'm so sorry that your game has to be pay to play now. Like it's
At least it's still
uh
happening though. Like there's so many games that have just been they just die because I mean it's hard if you don't have a player base that is willing to give you some sort of income and you're just running servers and employing people. Like where's the money come from? You
yeah.
only get so even if it was like a buy-in game at one point, you got however much money 10 years ago. That's not paying
Oh,
the bills today.
yeah, I think some so I hate DLC. And I went on a rant about Destiny. I was like,
Oh, really?
how fucking dare they have DLC and expansions that you have to pay for and shit? And developer, I think I was it Comic Con? I fucking dug into a developer of another game. Like, how dare he do this kind of stuff or permit this to happen? Not said like that, but I was challenging his ethics, his morals, and he was like, "How much did you pay for Breath of the Wild?" And I'm like, "I paid $60." And he's like, "How many hours did you play?" And I was like, 120, like 140. I played the crap out of Breath of the Wild. And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. How much money do you think per hour you have to pay for a game? When the game then becomes 1,000 hours, should you have to pay more money to continue to play this game?" And I was like, "No, I bought the game." And he's like, "So if you're playing Destiny for 1,000 hours, how much money should I get or whatever?" And it's just that to me was just like, oh, I think I broke my headset actually. By the way, just so you
Oh,
know, look at
really?
this. Ready? Mm.
Okay, I was like
Um,
wondering. It's like your levels are just
yeah,
getting quieter and quieter. I'm like, oh no.
yep. I don't know how to fix this now. I'm just gonna hold it for a while. But yeah, so that to me kind of like triggered in my head. That was like, oh, I can kind of see why they would have to now. If your game is X and you can play
Yeah,
this much hours, you have to make income somewhere else.
yeah. And a game like Breath of the Wild, the initial cost of Breath of the Wild might have been whatever it was, but there's not much reoccurring cost past like fixing bugs and stuff like that and updates. There's no
Yeah,
multiplayer, there's no servers they have to run. I imagine I don't know how Nintendo works, but they're
I
on to the
think they
next
run servers.
project.
Yeah,
They're making
yeah.
money on something else now, and
S-
yeah, for a game
hard.
that you have to keep making updates for and keep fixing and keep up patching.
Servers are expensive.
Yeah,
I don't think people
10 years
understand what
later,
servers are either. Like, no, no, I play the game on my computer and all my friends connect to it. No, no, you
how
don't.
servers work. Wish
Yeah,
that's how
and
servers work. I mean, peer to peer, kind of, but
yeah.
ugh.
Remember Ventrilo back in the day?
Oh
Had to
boy,
pay
Vent.
5-10 bucks a month for Ventrilo, so you could talk, and now Discord's free. I am
Yeah,
surprised Discord doesn't have a button that says "Donate to us, y'all using our servers right now."
they do.
Because
It's called
on the front
Nitro.
page, when I log in, no, no, they've had Nitro for a while.
Yeah, that's what
I
I mean.
just
That's what Nitro is. Nitro is
right, right.
donate to us.
Oh, sorry. I'm saying because of the virus, a lot more people are
Oh,
using Discord, and there's like a huge overhaul. And I know their
mhm.
servers. This is why they've had like things go down, all this stuff. It's just like we're all using Discord, we're all using Amazon, all this stuff. And it's just like I'm surprised they don't update Nitro and be like, you want to just donate some money? Get help. Like,
Well, I'd be interested to see what the uptake of Nitro subscriptions has been because people are using Discord more. Like, are people buying more Nitro now because they're using it more? Like $5 a month really isn't that much if you're using Discord 10 hours a day to communicate with your
yeah,
friends. And some of the perks for Nitro are actually really good. There's like higher quality video chat and like the ability to use more emotes and stuff. And that might not matter to some people, but some people are really into this. But I get free Nitro for life because I'm a Discord partner, so I don't have to worry about that.
oh, damn. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I somehow weaseled my way into that
So you
network. That's a
tricked
whole
them.
story for another time. Uh,
Okay, okay.
wow,
Yeah,
we how long have we
yeah, we
been
went on
talking
for a while.
about? Wow, it's already been an hour. Do we want to move on to game news?
It's all you, man. We can go to game news.
All right, let's hit game news. We'll try to cover these quick.
Okay.
Earth's back. Do you like Earth?
I do not.
You don't like Earth. I feel
That
like
was super. Um, so the first time Earth ever came out, I think I lost 18 games in a row on stream.
oh god.
And I love League of Legends, as League of Legends is. I have 12,000 games played of League of Legends. I like League of Legends. Earth
12,000?
is a mockery. Yeah, I think it. So when I got interviewed at Riot, the they asked you like, "What's your favorite game?" And I was like, "Oh, mine's League of Legends." And the interviewer was like, "You have to say that, you know, but like, what's your real favorite game?" And I was like, "I have at the time 10,000 League of Legends games played. I have more than your entire team put together. Don't question my love for this game."
I
Like,
fucking love League of Legends. There's
yeah,
I mean, you're probably intimately familiar with this. There's a website that used to run or still runs called like wastedonleague.com or
yeah,
wastedonLOL.com.
it was
And
disgusting.
I'm sure you're ridiculously high up there. I think I was at I think I'm at like five or 6,000 games, something like that.
Okay, yeah, that's not bad.
It's a lot. It's really hard because a lot of those games were like 3v3s or ARAMs
Oh,
or
okay, okay.
the modes, and you can't really find those anymore or Dominion because um,
Yeah,
they just don't get counted. They didn't get counted in like all your main
I
things,
got
and you can't like go back and be like, hey, how many games of 3v3s did I play? Um,
yeah. It so
and
so
like
Earth isn't my
old
favorite.
ranked stuff. Yeah, Earth. I like Earth. I personally enjoy Earth just because I like playing new things. And that's why
Okay.
I don't like pick Earth. I like all random Earth because I like being forced to play a different thing
Oh,
every game and like having to learn what's good on that champion. And I also don't like playing against the same 10 champions every single game.
so I'm about to ask something, and this is really bad because I am one of the leads on that team. Um, is it pick Earth or random Earth this time around?
Pick Earth. It's pick Earth for the second time in a row actually.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm like I
Oh,
pick Earth's like I'll take it, but it's definitely not my preferred herb. And I think more and more people like I'm sure you're well aware, but the overwhelming majority of the loud voices on the internet were like, "Oh my god, random earth terrible. It sucks. Just give me pick earth back. I just want to play pick earth. I want to play this every time. I don't have to play a moo moo or whatever. Blah blah blah."
right.
And then
Let me give you
okay,
a little context on that. If you can only play 2 games a night and you get 2 random characters you don't like, you have a really bad taste in your mouth.
I understand that. I do understand that.
Okay. Okay.
But
But yes. Yeah. Yeah.
on the other side of the spectrum, if I only get 2 games a night and I'm playing against Fizz, Zed, Yumi, Hecarim, whatever, every single freaking game because I only have one ban and there's 20,000 champions I hate playing against. I don't know.
I've played 2 games against Aphelios since he
Oh
came
god,
out, and both those times I regretted it that I didn't ban him. I feel that very much. There's champions I
that's
hate.
I have a cycle right now where it's Lee Sin, Kane, and um,
Who
it's
bans
either
Kane?
Lux. I ban Kane because fuck playing against Kane. Kane's
What do you?
good.
I agree, he's good. He is a more balanced character than a lot of the ones out there.
The problem I have playing against Kane is that my teams never punish him in the early game. And by the
Okay.
time people are realizing that he's powerful, he's Red Kane with Death Stance, Black Cleaver, Spirit Visage, and he's out healing whatever damage my team's doing. And he's just like
Yeah.
1v5ing. And that's the problem I have with Kane. Probably because
Okay.
I'm not aggressive enough. I don't shut him down early.
Uh,
Um,
That's reasonable. It's like Cass bans when it comes around. I'm like, I don't feel like my team punished them, but if I pick Cass, they're always just up my ass the entire
yeah,
game.
they have like Talon, Hecarim. They're just ganking your lane
Uh,
24/7. You can't get away
so
until level 6.
I played a ranked game over the weekend, and my first pick mid laner picks Kassadin. So they pick Renekton and Zenzao or something like that, and it was Renekton mid.
Oh
And this
god.
kid is just blasting me. How dare I would let bruisers exist in the mid lane? And my thing is, bruisers don't exist in the mid lane. They only exist when you pick
When you
Kassadin
first
first
pick
pick.
Cassidy blind. Well, that's what I love. I love when people like over rely on Cassidon's passive of like reduced magic damage, and then the enemy picks like Lucian or something mid, and then they
Yeah,
just
they
ass
just
blast them at level 3 because Cassidy actually really isn't that tanky. It's just he relies a lot on that passive to stay alive. um,
Yep,
ugh,
it's unfortunate, and if you pick a champion that guarantees to, I shouldn't say guarantee, with a very high win rate late, you have to understand that you're trading something, and what you're
mhm.
trading is your luscious booty early game.
Really, yeah. Not
Yeah.
every champion can own the early game. Like if you're playing Lee Sin, you're gonna be really strong early, but if you don't get ahead early, you're not gonna be useful late game. Um,
Or the teams that pick Irelia top, Kassadin mid, Vayne bottom lane, Kane jungle, and then want to surrender at 15 minutes.
yeah, they're like,
I'm
oh,
like,
we
guys,
don't.
what were you?
We're 0-10. What are we gonna do? Game's over.
Of course you are.
Yeah, you have no way to deal with the enemy.
Yeah.
Ugh, man,
Yeah,
League of
fuck Earth,
Legends is
by the way.
fun.
Sorry.
Fucker, yeah, okay. Question was, Earth is back. Do you like Earth? Answer, fuck Earth. Moving on.
There's not a rotating game mode I like. None of them.
I think Earth is my favorite routine game mode, and that's just because Earth is more fun than
Oh, I'm
Ascension
sorry.
or
What's
One
your
for All or
favorite Earth
something.
champion to play? Let me ask you a question.
I don't have a favorite. Like I said, I like playing a different thing every time. I think the one I've been enjoying most recently, just because I have to pick things now, is like I like Lulu
Oh,
or
I'm so
something.
sorry. You say Lulu?
Yeah, just because
You're an
Lulu.
anti-fun.
Yeah, well, if I can't have fun in my Earth, you don't get to kill anyone.
Jesus Christ, that's an anti-fun champion right there. Just,
Hey man, it's not Zed at least. Dear God, I hate Zed.
I think Lulu is 10 times worse than Zed.
Yeah, but okay.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
You're probably correct. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about was this is something that I don't think really League has much of a problem with, but other games these days, file sizes. Call of Duty Warzone just dropped a big update, and I think the total file size now on PC is something north of 200 gigabytes, which is a lot. Is that too much? How much is there a too much?
So we limit everything because our game is marketed to run on toasters. We are
Mhm.
proud of that fact. Our game runs on the early max. Like, um, I think games are at a point right now where you have to be flashy and big, and you have to have great sound, great visuals that can run on 4K 70-foot TVs, right? The only way you can get that right now because technology is not there is just to have giant ass fucking files. I think it's gross, but
Mhm.
I don't disagree with it. Like, then they can just blame you. Oh, I had a like. Who is going to choose not to download that brand new beautiful game because they have two leftover games on their hard drive?
Yeah. I think the main problem that people have with it though is that, and then we're blessed with beautiful, lovely Messiah internet provider Spectrum. Uh,
Are you sponsored by them?
no, fuck Spectrum.
Okay,
I completely hate
then they
them.
can
They're
all die in a
terrible,
fire.
dude. Spectrum is it's worse than Suddenlink, and I had Suddenlink in North Carolina for the longest time, and I didn't like them, but at least
Yeah,
they worked. Okay.
so bad.
The problem I think most people have with large file size games is a lot of companies these days still in 2020 are implementing data caps on internet. And I don't
Yeah,
think we have much of it in LA. I'm not familiar with it, but in a lot of rural areas, it is not uncommon to have like a 500 gig data cap on your internet. And if you're downloading 200 gigs of Warzone in 1 month, all of a sudden the Netflix is going off, the YouTube is getting shut down, and like you have to
that's
pay.
not That's not their problem. That's your
I
problem.
know. That's not
That,
that's not Modern Warfare's problem,
it's
but
fucked up. It's
it's a
fucked up.
situation that's the reality. And like, is there something that they need to do to combat that, or is it just do we just have to take that sacrifice and be like, hey, I'm sorry, you can't play our game?
The way that it speaks is gonna be with wallet. Like, if people will stop downloading big size games, but then they literally be like, okay, well, we're no longer catering to that audience. We're catering to the audience of people that have good internet.
Yeah,
Um, I think in the next 5-10 years we're gonna have a really big war over internet.
I think so too. I
Um,
think we're at the very entrance of it just because of quarantine. I think we
it,
talked about this a lot 2 episodes ago, where
Okay.
internet in other developing countries is or not other developed countries is so many light years ahead of like American internet that it's not
Yeah.
even funny. And we had a gentleman from England on the show, and he was complaining about Virgin, which is their internet provider, and me and Larry were like, that sounds bad, but that's not like as nearly as bad as like what people deal with, especially like in Georgia or in Ohio or something, where your internet provider is Comcast or whatever, and they're charging you $800 a month for 20 gigs or 20 megabits down or whatever. Man,
Yeah, it's disgusting what they get away with
internet
here.
providers are like if it should be a utility and it should be regulated and it just should be it shouldn't be a for-profit industry at all because it's a utility now. It's like people need this to survive. This now more than ever. People
Yeah.
are working online. They're doing social stuff online. This is like it's not water and electricity level, but it's up there. I think it's more important
All
than
right.
phone lines.
I'm gonna go on a quick philosophical tangent about
Okay.
American culture. All right. We have Hollywood. We have these things where we were genre defining for so long that America has not adapted or needed to. And so, why would we change our rules and adapt to other countries? We have been the stepping stool for X amount of time. Now, we have not been that for a while, but that mentality hasn't changed. Um, why would I learn another language? All music is in English. All
It's
movies
true.
are in English. Why would I do this? And then you have people that come from China, Europe, Philippines that speak English. Like, why? Why do you do that? Like, oh, because some of our media was in English and I wanted to partake of it. And everyone was just like, wow, you should learn English. I should never have to learn another language. And it's getting quite quite apparent when we are now falling behind on things where it's just like, yeah, I should probably know other languages. And unfortunately for me, at my school, they offered Spanish, French, and German, and I took
Mhm.
German because it was the coolest sounding one. Uh, do you know who speaks only German? No
Not
one,
the
because every
Germans.
German person speaks English better than I speak German. So,
I had that philosophical dilemma where I thought everyone in the world speaks English because everyone that I interact with online spoke excellent English. All the Europeans, even the people from China that I spoke with. And then like my brain just clicked and I'm like, it's not that everyone speaks English. It's that the people that the only people who are interacting with me are English speaking. Like I'm not going to be able to go out and talk to people who are speaking Deutsch or Chinese or whatever just because I don't understand them, and they probably don't understand me if they don't know English. Um,
yeah,
and that was something like
yeah,
the perception of culture is just like it's so tied to your universe, which is the people that you talk to, the content you consume, and the I think that's basically just it. The people that you talk to and the content you consume. Like what else is there?
yeah. America's a giant country. I went to 40 states before I ever left the country. Um, why would I learn another language? I learned how to talk to people from the north because I used to have a southern accent. I learned how to let them understand me. I talked slower, pronounced every letter. Um, but that's about as far as I went. But people in Europe have this. I want to say it's an advantage, but not. It's just being a good person that they they literally just have neighbors that speak other languages that they're like, oh, I want to interact with your country because I want to see what your country's about. It's why would you go to Mexico? We have New Mexico. We have Arizona, we have Southern California, all the beaches you want. Go to Florida. Go to what, Cancun? Go to Florida.
Don't go to Florida. Don't go to Florida.
Right, but it's this American thing. It's just like it's rough and we need to get out of that hole.
I don't know if it's possible. It's gonna be a while.
I mean, the boomers gotta die. Uh oh, my mom I called my mom on Mother's Day and she asked me when the millennials are gonna fix the economy that we screwed up. And I lost my mind. I was like, "We screwed up? Are you serious? You have boned everything. You guys just leached and sucked and hoarded, and now you're all dying." Just, oh,
Where's all the money? Where'd it go?
they pissed it away. They pissed it
Yeah.
away and let prices get ridiculous because capitalism. I should not
because
pay $2,600 a month in rent. There
yeah,
is no
oh
way in the
god,
world I should do that for a two-bedroom home.
oh my god,
Sorry, not a
yeah,
home, two-bedroom apartment.
apartments in a
I
building.
had a house in Georgia for 800. It was a four-bedroom, three bath.
That's I think that's people. Everyone knows that it's expensive to live in like a big city, but it doesn't really click with you. It didn't click with me until I moved here, where it's just like I'm paying like a, a super large percentage of my income, like more than it should be, on a room in a house.
Yeah, it's it's gross.
Yeah,
And it's super greedy. Um, and we need to fix that. And we can't fix that because the people that have it all are the ones
the
that
ones
have the
to
power
fix
to
that.
fix it.
Yeah,
So
if you
like,
can't, you have no incentive to fix it if you're the one benefiting from the system.
yeah.
So how about that PS5?
I honestly, I saw that thing and I was hoping Larry was going to talk to you more about it. I
I was
don't do
hoping to.
consoles.
I don't know anything
So,
about it.
okay, cool, 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 cool.
I know. Okay, this is what I know about the PS5 from the
Okay,
bits and
shoot.
pieces that I picked up. Its read write speeds are abnormally high, like double that of like an NVMe SSD, like which is very fast. Like NVMe SSDs right now, M.2 M.2 SSDs. I'm talking very fast.
Okay,
Um, they are I think somewhere around capping out at like 3.5 gigabits per second of read write, which is very fast. That's like upwards of what most people need for anything. And I think they said the PS5 is going to be like 8 or 9 gigabits per second read write, which is that's like
they're just
double.
tripling it, bro.
Yeah, they're like double tripling it. It's ridiculous.
I can do
And
math.
like,
I work at computers.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's it depends on what number you take. I said like
Yeah,
three to 3.5. Yeah,
you're
it's
good.
like double or tripling it somewhere around there.
Okay.
And they probably explained how they did it. I didn't really pick up on that, but my question is like, why did they need that much speed? Like, what is the bottleneck in read writes on hard drives on your drive? Like, what is that solving? Isn't the most bottlenecks in games these days isn't that mostly coming from the CPU and the GPU? But apparently, it was a problem, and they solved it. So, yay! Good job, PS5. We'll see that
Yeah.
coming up next year or whatever they decide to release it.
I bought a new computer last month, and I literally just hit up an IT person at our company and was like, "Buy a computer for me." And he was like, "Wait, shouldn't you know about this stuff?" And I was like, "I
Yeah, but
numbers." And he's like, "Well, what graphics card do you want? What do you need to run?" And I was like, "I'm gonna pick a game, and you tell me how I run it at max." Done.
I'm about 2 or 3 months out from doing a big upgrade. I think I'm gonna spend an inordinate amount of money and just get like a ridiculous computer and just hopefully be
Do
done
it,
with
man.
it for a long time.
My buddy just bought a computer where he could do 3D modeling and something. He wanted to make 3D movies, so his computer was a. Sorry, he wanted to make VR.
Oh
He was
God,
making VR shit. So his computer was like 4 or 5 thousand for what he
yeah,
wanted to do.
I know
And I was just
exactly
like,
where all that money went to.
oh,
There's like a $3,000 CPU in that machine probably, and then there's like $2,000 worth of GPUs just
it
in a
was
row.
disgusting what he did.
Yeah,
And yeah, he's happy, and I'm glad he's happy.
it's crazy. Computers like computer price. There's such a big jump. There's like good, great. And this is this graph that I'm showing for our listeners is it's going up slowly, and then when you get to like industry level, it goes from like $2,000 being like 2,000 to 3,000 being like the cap of what you can spend, up to like $40,000, and there's no in between. It's like you're either spending $3,000 on the best PC you can get as a consumer, or you're spending $40,000 on a I need this for rendering 8 frames of my upcoming Hollywood blockbuster movie or like Thor: The Dark World or whatever. Because if there's just like the
Yeah, no,
I think it's probably something to do with supply and demand. It's just like so many few people need this that it's just so expensive just because the cost of making it is just so high because they don't have to have that much production. Like they're only producing it for 10,000 people in the world. That's why it costs so much compared to producing it for hundreds of thousand people. But that's always
yeah,
something that made me laugh about computers. Where if you get like higher than a couple of $1,000s, you're going to be spending a large amount of money. Okay. Unreal 5. Do you know anything about this?
That's an
I'll
engine, right?
I'll
Oh, actually, I
summarize.
do know something. I talked to the artists about this.
Oh, do you
So
want to
you know
share?
the yeah, yeah. Do you know the opening video that they showed?
Yeah, like
The
the girl
first
in the
rock.
canyon.
Yeah, the first rock was 15 gigabytes of information.
Oh boy, maybe that's why they need 3 or 9 gigabit per second bandwidth.
Yeah, but
Holy
they're
moly!
just like it's and you're just like, "Oh." And so it's like, yeah, how do we have enough room for that? Are we gonna have terabyte-sized games? So,
You
anyway,
know what I
that's as
think?
much
I
as I
think
know about it.
you know what I think everyone's hoping for. They're hoping that internet streaming gets
Streaming?
good enough where they can just stream everything, like just stream it all to your computer,
Yeah, but
and
the
they don't want to.
cost that people are gonna you're gonna be paying you're gonna have a monthly subscription that's going to rival that of Netflix and Hulu together, easily for like very simple games, which I'm
Yeah,
okay with. I'm really if streaming is the next thing, and I don't if I lived in Korea, I would never have a computer because I love PC bangs. Um, so I'm cool with a world in which I do that kind of stuff. I'm okay with a world where I just have a streaming platform and I have monitors, a keyboard, and a mouse, and no computer. Um, or I should say like physical big fatty. I'm cool with that, but not in America. We will not be able to do that
yeah,
because we haven't laid new wire for internet in the last 3 decades.
yeah. And another problem is just it's such a big country compared to like if you look at Korea, like I'm not this could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure that like Korea, the entire country of South Korea is
It's
smaller
big.
than like one of our
Uh,
smaller states. And I'd have to do some Google Maps for
yeah,
that, but I'm
go
definitely
check
sure
a
it's
little
smaller
back.
than Texas. Like I could be sure
Um,
about that.
so there's a lot of buttons to click, and why is everything?
Are you
God, I'm
actually
going
just going to
blind.
Google Maps and like looking at how big it is with the
Okay, so Korea is basically. Do you know where Fresno is?
yes,
Fresno to
Arizona, New
LA.
Mexico.
No, Fresno, California. God damn.
Wait, Fresno,
Uh,
California. Okay, sorry, I'm new in
yeah.
California. I'm not smart.
It's basically just the if you went to like Los Angeles, and then just cut it off, and the rest is California. Just that's how big Korea is.
Yeah.
So just
So
like
it's like
yeah,
geographically, it's just like a minuscule country compared to America. And then like that has a big part to do with like why the internet's so good there. Just because you can have all your internet providers and stuff right next to you. Like
yeah.
I don't know where the Korea servers are based. I'm sure they're based in either Korea or China, but they're an order of magnitude closer than they are than me to Chicago or me
Oh
to
yeah,
wherever.
Korea has. I had 8 ping.
Yeah.
Everyone there was a Dota god. Oh, I didn't say Dota. My friend just logged into Dota, and it was a Yasuo god, but their macro was awful. But
Oh
in
God.
gold Yasuos were so good.
It's like I just would love. I had in the early days of League. And when did you move to California? Because said you lived in Georgia for a while.
Yeah, 5 years ago.
Did you play League in Georgia?
Yeah,
So
120
you
ping.
you dealt with the 120 ping that the East
Yep.
Coast had to deal with. Oh God, it was so bad, and I didn't realize how bad it was until they moved the servers, and it was just like 120 to 40 ping or 50 ping or whatever it was such a big leap that going from 40 to 70, it felt bad, but it was like I could never go back from 40 to like 120 or 40 to
Oh
100
yeah.
plus. You just couldn't play the
Uh,
game anymore.
Xerath and Cassiopeia have a 7% win rate increase depending on your ping.
Yeah.
From 10 ping to 100 ping is like a 7% win rate.
It's just it's frustrating. And I think it's one of the things that I'd like to see out of League in the future is figuring out some way to fix ping disparity in North
We
America.
have the best systems. We have the best internet. We have our own fucking shit. We have our game. I don't know if you. When we made Irelia, we cheated, and so you can dash a lot faster with Irelia than you used to be able to because our game anticipates it and leaves it open for you. And before you even click the button, we assume you're going to. Uh, there's a lot of things that we do to cheat to help that out. I don't think any other game in North America can even compete with the internet compared to how League is.
Yeah.
And I know saying that as a rioter sounds super like I'm saying that for my company, but like play WoW, play Final Fantasy, and try spamming your buttons. They won't feel the same.
Mhm.
Play Dota. It's just it's different tech. That shit's complicated. Uh, I don't think there's a way to solve it.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know. It's tough. Like
live
you
in a
see
smaller country,
Valorant,
but
and you see Valorant. They have, I don't know the specifics, but I know they have like servers around the country, right?
yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they have like,
yeah.
so they'll have like, but there's no. It's not like you don't have to log in and say like I want to play on NA East or I want to play on NA West.
Yeah, we would crush solo queue in North America if 10 times more people played League in LA. We could talk about having LA or
Mhm.
wow, in US we could have USA East and USA North and West and all that kind of stuff. But we just there's enough player base right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and
So
I just don't. I knew that it wouldn't work, and I know that there's like thousands of problems with it, but it would just like in a world where you could like have the same system of Valorant and League, where there would just be like it just chooses the best server for you in that
yeah.
game. But I know like going like then you'd run into the problem where it would be like, um, I'm playing on 10 ping for this game, and then the next game I'm playing on 80 ping because the server changed from LA to Chicago or whatever.
Oh,
And
for
that
sure.
just
No,
that'd be I think that'd be more frustrating. But yeah,
it'd be the perfect world.
yeah,
I miss the 2 weeks I played League in Korea were like the best League days of my life. It was beautiful, and I could hit
yeah.
a button on the PC bang, and they deliver ramen to me right to my.
This
That's
is
the
the
best day of
perfect
my life.
society. Why isn't all the world like this?
Oh, it was so nice, and yeah, ping was good. I didn't understand what the player said, so no one was toxic, or they were all
No one was
toxic. I don't
flaming.
know.
everyone
It was great.
everyone was flaming you, but you just couldn't understand them.
Dude, I
Man,
went 2 weeks from bronze to plat one, and I couldn't get into diamond. It was so frustrating because I was like, I only have X amount of time. Let me get in there.
back
Uh,
in the day, did you ever play League on Latin America North servers because they were closer
no,
to you?
no. Did
Like
you?
5 or 10 years ago, whatever it was, the LAN servers were hosted in Florida,
Yeah, they were
and
in
I was in
Miami.
North Carolina. I was getting like 20 ping to LAN servers, so I was booting up my LAN
30.
account and playing with the Spanish speaking men who were just hurling insults at me because I was terrible at League back in the day.
But you had
But
low
I
ping,
didn't
so
know them. Yeah, but I had low ping, and that's why I enjoyed it. I think I had like 30 or 40 ping, which was so much better than the 120. Oh
yeah. No,
boy.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Um, I think we were talking about Unreal 5. Yeah, Unreal 5 is the new engine from Epic Games, and their monetization strategy is actually really cool. It's if you want to use it to develop your indie game, it's free to use until your game breaks $1 million in sales. So you essentially have one of the best engines in the gaming world at your disposal for free or for whatever it costs to. Like I think Unreal uses a lot of licensed assets. I'm not positive about that, but you get to at least use the engine for free until your game is very successful. Because I think most games that people are making are not going to break 1 million in sales. So I think that was pretty cool. Good on
Yeah, that's
Epic
really
for
cool.
doing something with their billions of Fortnite money.
Hey, Epic does really good things for monetization and stuff. Like again, free to play is really a and they're sticking to it. It's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
I don't
mean,
know how
Epic
they got
is
GTA 5 on there.
oh, for free too. Ooh,
What?
crazy.
Okay.
And that's gonna be a second age of GTA 5 now. Like the GTA Online community, I'm sure was dwindling, or at least
Yeah.
it's not as great as it was. But now that you have thousands, hundreds of thousands of new players, it's gonna be a second resurgence of the community, and content's gonna come back. And when content
How
comes
do they make
back,
how does GTA make money? Are there microtransactions?
microtransactions. Yeah, you can buy in-game currency. You can buy
Okay.
vehicles, I think, and stuff like that.
That's
I
cool.
don't know how bad it is. I haven't played GTA Online in a long time. Um, but yeah, they sell money, which is what are you gonna do? That's how you
They
make
they
money.
sell money.
Well, GTA was the most expensive game ever, wasn't it? Or at least like the most expensive AAA game single release thing. GTA 5. I'm pretty sure that's accurate. It was like
I believe you.
$1 billion or something. It was a lot of money. 100 million maybe. Where that's why they had to sell it so aggressively. It was like almost Skyrim level of sales.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, dude, they had someone that made unique. They had like a team make unique license plates for like 3 years for their game.
Mhm.
They they did everything. They were
Yeah,
thorough. It was going to be beautiful, and it's not bad.
yeah. GTA 5. I feel like it doesn't receive the level of recognition that like a game like League or a game like Minecraft or something does has. But I feel like the level of impact that it's had on gaming is like it's up there. A lot of people have played GTA
Yeah,
5. A lot of people.
I
Um,
played it for a week. It didn't run very well on my old computer,
yeah, I
and
was in the
yeah,
same boat. I don't think the servers were very good when I was playing it either, so I had a lot of difficulty with like loading into stuff.
yeah, it's annoying.
But maybe I'll give it another shot now that it's free.
Yeah, now it's
Actually,
free.
I already
I'll
have
give you
it,
a
but
download.
I'll give it another shot. This is something that I wish more people did, and I think it's going to be a lot more commonplace now that we're sort of receiving these weird incremental upgrades for consoles. EA has announced, and I think they're among multiple people, um, that you can upgrade your games to play them on the newest generation of consoles. So if you have a game on Xbox One X or Xbox One or whatever it's called, you can upgrade them to Xbox Two or whatever the heck it's called, Xbox Series X. Xbox is awful about naming their freaking consoles. Just do something better because you're terrible. Um, and I'm
Do
sure that
something
will,
better.
yeah, I'm sure that will be end up
Oh,
being like commonplace. Like I think if EA is doing it, it's going to be pretty commonplace. I think most developers are going to be doing it now, or most publishers.
I don't know
Um,
how that works or what it looks like, but it sounds nice. I like that you can keep playing your game that you paid for. That's
yeah, I think that's the major problem that consoles always had versus PC in many aspects. The next iteration of a console would just mean that you just lost all your games. Like that's just what it was. Like you couldn't
yeah,
really play Xbox games on an Xbox 360. You couldn't really play like Nintendo sort of had their thing where you can play virtual games on our virtual box and pay $5 to go back and play Mario again. But
yeah.
most companies were like they either made a re-release or that game's gone forever. Um, Whereas PC, you can still play Dune 2 or Command and Conquer Red Alert 25 years later for
Dude, that game was
free.
so good,
I
so
know.
good.
And that's like one of the major advantages that PC had. So I'm actually super excited to know that consoles are at least taking that step in the right direction. And I think it's another step that consoles are just merging into basically just PCs, but not quite
Yeah,
there. So
PCs with instead of a mouse and keyboard, all in one. You're welcome.
yeah, basically. It's something I feel like we could get into the console and PC debate forever, but I feel like there's no reason anyone would ever want a console when PCs exist, but I know that's not true. So,
Yeah, not in North America.
yeah.
Definitely not in North America. Um,
Um Other things we had to talk about, CD Projekt, which is the developer behind the Witcher series and the upcoming highly anticipated Cyberpunk 2055 or something similar, whatever it's called. They are now Europe's most valuable games company. They surpassed Ubisoft. Ubisoft, the titan of the games industry. And I don't know if that includes Ubisoft's North American divisions because I know they do have a large amount of developers in Canada
Montreal. Yeah,
and United States, but that's still a pretty big accomplishment. And I think that speaks to show how far CD Projekt has come. Because like I think 10 years ago, before The Witcher 3, Witcher 2, 1 and 2 were good games and they're popular, but they weren't like the holy grail that Witcher 3 was. And I think Witcher 3 really reached that level of like this is Skyrim but a little more hardcore that most people are looking for. And now
yeah.
Cyberpunk is gearing up hopefully to be one of the biggest game launches of this
Are you
decade
excited for
probably.
Cyberpunk?
I personally am not like that hyped for it, but I never really got into The Witcher either. I played it a
Mm.
lot, but I never was like, this is like the best game ever. Um, maybe I'm
Yeah.
just not an RPG guy.
Well,
I
I'm
like I
literally
like
gonna watch Summit play Cyberpunk, and that's my connection to Cyberpunk will be
yeah.
played through someone else that's gonna whine about it the whole time.
I haven't played. I haven't gotten really into a single player game other than the new Doom and Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. I played a lot. I really like those games, but other single player games they haven't really gotten to me for a long time. And that's probably just the
Did you play
gamer I
Red
am.
Dead?
No, I was thinking about picking it up, but I heard that it wasn't very optimized for PC.
Oh, I literally got a PlayStation to play it because
Yeah,
they do not
I'm
port
I'm
well to
really
PC.
tempted to get a PlayStation just because I want to play. I want to play God of War. I want to play Red Dead 2. I want to
Yeah.
play Last of Us.
Well,
And
did
that's
you
like,
hear about PlayStation 5 is coming out?
yeah, it did. Yeah, PlayStation 5. Did you hear that it has a
And
9 gigabit read write speed?
yeah, so like a 3.5 was
Yeah, it's triple, I think, or double, one of those.
yeah, one of those two.
Uh,
Depends on what number you pick.
yeah, I mean, if you're
Um,
picking 3, then triple.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. You like the problem with quarantine right now is trying to buy a game console is a pain in the ass. Like you can't get a Switch anywhere for any amount of money. That's reasonable.
do, do you want to switch?
I would take a. Do you have a Switch that you're looking to sell? I'll buy it off you.
No, GameStop just got them in store last
Really?
night. Yeah,
Wow. I don't think I've
we,
walked into
we
a
have.
GameStop in like
Well,
10
don't
years.
walk into a GameStop online. I don't know. So
Oh.
so in one of our Slack channels, there's like Switch watches, and people tell out when Switches happen.
That's like
So
the craziest thing to me. Nintendo has made this product that's so in demand that you literally can't get it. Like you have to like look for it and to
yeah,
get it, which is crazy. Is that like a
Animal
failing on
Crossing
Nintendo for
too.
not building enough, or is that like a we're only going to build as many as people want because we don't want to be stuck with 1,000 million Wii's that nobody's ever going to use?
I think it's the latter, and also I don't think they're that far off. Like they have, if you really want one, you can get one,
Mm-hmm.
and if you kind of want one, you have to just kind of wait. And I think that's
Yeah,
better for the model, especially since most of their money comes from games, right? I don't know how
probably.
console world works.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this, but I just don't think I know enough about it. I think I'd have to get a guest on that works in like that field because I wanted
Yeah,
to say that most consoles sell at a loss or at least a very small margin.
oh,
Um,
100%.
and they get most of their money back on online services like Xbox Live, PSN, blah 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 blah, game sales. But I just don't know enough about that to speculate. So it's just like I could say 1,000 things and they could all be wrong, and then I could be misinforming all 8 people who watch this show.
They're all like,
um,
"Oh yeah, Xbox makes all their money off of video games."
yeah,
So,
and then like somebody at Xbox is like, No, we don't. We make $1,000 every time you buy an Xbox."
yeah. Well, I bought mine used, so
Yeah, I haven't had an Xbox in a long time. My roommate has an Xbox. I could probably play on his if I wanted to. No
my
PS4 though.
roommate. So when I moved in, roommate, she's talking. She's like, "I love video games," and I was like, "Oh, too." And she's like, "Yeah, I play Overwatch," and I was like, "I don't play Overwatch, but I'll definitely play with you." She's like, "That sounds awesome." And I move in, and I'm like moving in my PlayStation, or not my PlayStation, my PC. And she's like, "Oh yeah, where do you want to set up your console?" And I was like, "Console."
Oh no. Well, that's why. That's
All for
why.
gamers console.
I actually played a couple games. I haven't played much because we're both so busy, but I've played a couple games of Modern Warfare, Warzone with my roommate, and he plays on Xbox and I play on PC because they actually have
Oh,
cross-platform
that's really
that
cool.
works. It works great. Um, but it's just like it's. I think that Fortnite has it, but I mean, who plays Fortnite honestly?
I'm too old to play Fortnite.
Yeah, me
Is what
too,
it is.
and I'm only 23. um,
Oh no.
I don't know.
Well,
There's not a ton of games out there that do crossplay well, but I think Fortnite, Warzone. I know Rocket League has fairly good crossplay.
Final
Um,
Fantasy, great
I, did,
crossplay.
I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah, so I'm in a dungeon, and the tank's like, "Hey, it's my first time playing on PlayStation. Don't flame me." And I was just like, "How long did that take you to type?"
You have to
Like
select each letter with the.
that, that's the first thing I thought was like, "Don't even type it, dude.
He's
Just do
probably
your
got.
job."
Did you ever have one of those little keyboards that
N-
plugged into your
no, dude,
controller?
I
I
wasn't
had
that
one of
cool.
those.
Oh my
Um,
god.
all right. let's get the last couple topics and then we'll wrap up.
Oh
We've
yeah,
been
what's the
talking
last one?
for almost 2 hours. Man, I thought this was gonna be a short one. I'm like, Larry's not here. We're gonna breeze through the.
If Larry was here, it'd be a 4 hour. So we're
Oh God,
trying to
we
find
had
out.
last week's episode or last episode. We had 4 guests on, and we talked for almost 2 hours, just about everything. It was um I'll summarize because we've already been talking for almost 2 hours now. But we talked about shoutcasting and league, amateur tournaments, um,
Okay.
like how people. We had somebody on who was a finance associate for ESL, uh, esports something Europe. Their
Yeah, I've heard of
equivalent
it.
of like esports stuff. So that was a lot of fun. But we talked for so long just because so many people. Um, yeah, that was a good episode though. One of my favorites so far. All right. Next topic and second to last, and then I don't have a lot to say about this. Probably you don't
All right.
either. You ever play Terraria?
That's the 2D Minecraft, right?
That is the 2D Minecraft.
I have not played it at all.
I've not played it
Uh,
much either. But big
so
news, they oh go
yeah.
ahead.
No, no, I was gonna say the only games I play that are like that is like Civilization was my
Yeah.
bread and butter.
I would not equate those two, but
They're not the same.
they're not even close. Um
Okay, okay.
they launched their final update in the past week or so. It's got a lot of people revisiting the game. It actually was ending up one of the most streamed games on Twitch, which is a big accomplishment. The developers are throwing a big party. They're like going into people's streams and donating them subs and stuff. It's a good
That's
time.
cool.
Um, I think Terraria sold something north of 33 million copies or something. So it was a very popular
Okay.
game. And it has a it's almost 8 years old now. So it lasted a long time, but they're finally putting the nail in the last update and moving on to new projects. So congrats to them. I hope
Yeah,
their
that's
next
super
project
cool.
is something nearly as influential as Terraria because I know a lot of people love that game.
And way to end it with a bang is like a good TV show, not just letting it run out until
Hmm.
it's just over.
Yeah,
That's super awesome.
yeah, I'm really happy for them, and I know Mark actually joined um, the stream a minute ago, and he was playing Terraria himself. So
Oh, cool.
a lot of people love the game, just not for me, not my game. And then last topic before we cut ourselves off, Halo Infinite. Were you a Halo gamer growing up?
All right, let me tell you about the one time I played Halo.
Oh no.
So there was a Halo tournament in my local community at a GameStop, and I wasn't allowed to play Halo because I sucked. And my friends just always played. And then one of them, his mom grounded him, so he couldn't go to the tournament. So I was forced to then play for them, and I did so poorly. Those friends never talked to me again.
Oh no.
So yes, continue about your Halo.
Oh no. Did I just trigger a terrible memory?
No, but it was like really fucked up because I thought we were friends, and then like I don't play.
Oh
I didn't even have an Xbox, and they're gonna flame me for not doing well.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, Halo was like that was like many people's first experiences in like actual competitive shooters.
yeah,
Like a lot of the older folks will come in and be like, "Oh, I played Quake, I played Doom original, blah blah blah." But like for the younger generation, Halo and that series was just like that's where people got into FPS.
yeah.
Um,
Well, my friend is the head designer on the game.
oh, really?
Um, yeah, so
Well,
he's super amazing. Loves TFT, and I can't wait to play his game and be awful at it.
and that's what everyone's so excited about because Halo 4 was a good game. It was all right. It wasn't received very well, and then Halo 5 was not received well at all. I think that was one of the least popular games in the series. But now everyone's looking forward to Infinite because they're looking forward to like this sort of return to form from 343. So everyone's super excited for the game. It's putting a lot of hype. They're going to reveal something in July at the Halo
Ooh,
event. So we'll be seeing probably hopefully more about the game from then. And I think one of the big things that everyone's excited for is that it's coming to PC as well, which will be the first Halo game since Halo 2 to get a proper PC release. Um,
nice.
so everyone's excited about that. And then, of course, everyone's sort of been back on the Halo hype train since Master Chief Collection came out on PC. So it's fun to see a lot of people reliving old memories, going back into games that really haven't been touched for quite a long time. Um, and
Is
Microsoft, yeah,
that a good
Microsoft
thing?
definitely knows what they're doing.
How many Halos is too many Halos?
How many Halos is too many Halos? I don't know if there is. So we're on the 18th COD or something like that. People still play COD. People still buy every single time COD
Okay,
comes out.
well,
I know people who make COD, and they're sick of COD. No,
is there a
I'm joking.
storyline to COD though?
I don't know. There's no overarching story like between. I'm sure like for the series like Modern Warfare 1 through 3. I think there's like I never played COD that much to like really care about it.
Okay.
But I don't think there's like I don't think you can go from like COD World at War to COD Black Ops 3 and be like that's the guy from the game. I don't think it exists.
I know him. He's my favorite.
Yeah, he's that's my favorite guy. But people still play COD, and that's like 20 years later, 30 games later. So I don't think we're anywhere near like the max Halo. Um, it just needs to be different, and it needs to be something new for the Halo series. And I think we'll see that at least from what little I've seen of Infinite so far. But I'm excited.
We got hope.
Um, yeah. Did you have any thoughts about Halo other than the painful tournament memory?
No, it was awful. And I tried to drive a warthog the whole time, and then I got yelled at for only driving a warthog.
The
It was rough,
Warhog is
man.
hard to drive.
Well, super. The
It's like
physics didn't make
slidey.
sense. That's not how a
Yeah.
car works.
Well, it's not a car; it's an all-terrain vehicle,
Oh my god. Okay,
and
yeah,
it's
like
in
one of the King
space.
Kong things.
So
I guess. Yep. See. I can't connect to Halo.
yeah, I think it's like if you played it growing up, it's a big part of your life. But if you didn't, you probably don't care about it at all. You're just like, Halo.
I think Master Chief looks really cool.
He does. He's a cool dude. He got a
He's
really
wearing
good
a green
voice.
spacesuit. Oh,
Yeah.
great voice. Very, very
Finishing
manly.
this fight. Ba-ba-da, ba-ba-ba. Halo's got great music too. That's another thing Halo
The
does
only
well.
song I know is the "Oh"
Yeah.
in
I
the
mean that's
beginning. Yeah.
iconic. You didn't even play Halo and you know that song.
Yeah,
That's
everyone
how
knows that song.
it's beautiful. There's if you want a really hype video game theme to listen to Halo 2 um shoot, what's it called? It's called Halo 2 like Mjolnir theme or something like that. It's just ridiculously hardcore. It's awesome. It reminds me of like Doom music. It's so cool.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
great song.
I'm gonna check out one Halo 2 song and then flame you about all your other
I'll
music
try. I'll
preferences.
try to find the exact one so you don't like end up finding some terrible cover or something.
Okay.
All right. That is most of everything we wanted to talk about. Did you have anything that you wanted to plug before we wrap up?
I don't. I
Obviously,
don't
go
do
and
anything.
follow.
Don't
Um,
don't please don't follow me.
follow Twitter. He's very active on Twitter. Every day tweets something new. Um,
They made my Twitter account for me, and then it pings my phone, and I don't know how to read Twitter. About 5 6 months ago, I figured out that you scroll upward, not downward, to see what people are.
obviously.
So I don't even know how to respond to people. I don't want to deal with it. I'm old. Leave me alone. Like,
Oh, you know what
please.
I did? I never updated the title for the stream. Oh well. We're outdated.
No, we're
Um,
good.
we're good. Hey, Ranger, it was such a pleasure having you on the show. This was a lot more fun than I thought a two-man show could ever be. This was awesome. We talked for just about 2 hours about all sorts of lovely stuff. Thank you so much for coming on again. It was excellent to have you on the show after your glorious first episode launching our very successful podcast. So thanks for coming back on and thanks for joining us via webcam.
Of
We really
course, man.
appreciate that.
I had to bust the webcam out for you. I'm happy to do it again in 2 years. You can ask about what other things I've worked on. I have other aspirations of things to make, all in the League client, because that is the epitome of well-designed engines,
Hmm.
and I would like to further spread my spaghetti.
Hmm.
So,
Well, the League client is actually up for an award for one of the best designed and most stable running programs of all time.
that's what I
So
heard too.
yeah, I'll see you at the
There.
show. It's black tie, obviously.
Oh, oh, it's too
Oh
real
no!
and it hurts
Oh
too
no!
bad.
Oh no! We broke something.
Yeah, just
All
saying
right.
that cost 6 more bugs in the client, so
Yeah,
it's on you.
something somewhere went wrong. Um, hey, if I don't log into League and I see like 8 messages from people I haven't talked to in 5 years, I know that something went right. So good job for fixing the client. Appreciate it
Yeah,
so much.
I got you, buddy.
Hey, thanks again for coming on the show. If you want to follow Riot Ranger, don't follow his Twitter because Twitter's dumb. Just follow him around in real life and just find out where he find out where he gets his coffee and just say hi. Don't do that. Don't do that.
That works for me. That's so much better. I
Yeah.
appreciate that more.
All right. Thanks for coming out to the show, everyone. See you guys on next episode, and we appreciate you for coming out and listening to this 2-hour long episode. Have a great day.